comic books made more sense. You know it is fictitious without pretense.
Hello, today I thought we'd take a look at a long-forgotten comic character from a long-forgotten comic book universe from the early 90s, and that's Mantra. Mantra was a character in the Ultraverse, which was Malibu's answer to everyone else making a comic book universe, from Dark Horse to Valiant to everyone. Everyone was making their own comic book universe to cash in on the speculator bubble craze of the 1990s in comic books. Comic books were really big business at this time because of that craze. And this Ultraverse was basically like a superhero universe with a Superman kind of stand-in with Prime, which was a kid who, well, I guess it's a Captain Marvel, Shazam type of stand-in where, you know, a kid was subjected to experiments and then he can turn into this giant muscle-bound superhero adult. And there's plenty of gun-toting, Punisher rip-offs and stuff, and some Batman type rip-offs and everything. Mantra was unique in that I don't think this can really be done nowadays. Or maybe if it can be done nowadays, it'll be done a bit more tastefully, but I don't know. So what makes Mantra unique is it's a woman, but it's a man trapped in a woman's body. And he's trying to reconcile being a woman while also fighting all these different villains and characters. So I dug out my Ultraverse Origins comic to get the brief origin of Mantra. So this dude is a mage that has different guys fight for him over the millennia, and what he does is he reincarnates them into, like, he puts them into different bodies as they age so that they can go through time. And they're always men, right? And they were men anyways. And at one point, he's defeated by this dude. And this guy has like a jaw in his stomach that he feeds as well. It's kind of weird. But anyways, so this guy then puts his last and best remaining like bodyguard man, who's also sort of a mage, into the body of a woman who has the whose body is rife with potential for mysticism. Somehow he can sense that. And this woman, I can't remember if she died and he's able to take over the body that way, but she's already a single mom of 2 kids. And so this warrior mage man is now in the body of this woman who's also a single mother with 2 kids, and trying to reconcile that domestic life and living as a woman, and fight, characters like this. So that's basically Mantra. So let's look at issue 2. And here you have an Alien 3 video game ad. Much more exciting than the movie. I don't know. Alien 3 is okay in hindsight, but like, it was a disappointment when I first saw it. So here's another character that would walk around in this universe. I don't know if he ever had his own comic. His name's Warstrike. He's yet another, vigilante gun-toting man with military prowess, etc., etc. So he tracks this one down. Now, he's the one that killed the original man that got reincarnated into this woman. He was working for that bad guy with the jaw in his stomach, not knowing who he was and stuff. So she's like, listen, there's kids here, like, why, let's just talk about this, right? So they talk and everything. I think they were trying to make these two an item, but Mantra's still a man at heart, right? And like a straight male in a woman's body. So the kids wake her up. They want to go to school and everything, and Mantra's like, and they're like, oh, you didn't make lunch, so Mantra just gives them money, and doesn't even know how much money Mantra gave them. So Mantra then gets ready and everything and comments about stuff like, why do women have so much hair? This will take forever to dry. And at one point, Mantra has trouble like putting makeup on and stuff. Here it's like, how do women wear these things, holding up a bra? So Mantra goes to work, doesn't know any of this stuff, doesn't know who these people are, but they all know her, right? And this guy comes, and she's like, "Sir, may I help you?" And it turns out she's like, "You know what? This face looks familiar," and remembers the son, and is like, "Yeah, of course, it's the divorced husband, right?" So, so he came to drop off the child support check, and wants to go out for lunch. And Mantra's game because she wants to learn more about this person that Mantra is embodying, right? I'm saying she. I'll just say that because the character is a woman, but it's a man in a woman's body. So they talk and stuff, and she's like, "Can you take the kids tonight?" Because she just wants the kids out of the way, right? And he's like, "Sure." So usually, I guess this mother takes the kids out on Friday to the movies, but they're surprised that they're going to go with the father. Meanwhile, Mr. Bad Guy Man has this mage imprisoned, and Mantra wants to free this person, find out where they are, free them, so that they can turn it back into a man. When that happens, Mantra knows that this woman will die, because there's nothing taking this woman's place. And as a result, Mantra is like, I don't want it to get too attached to these kids and all that stuff, but it totally happens during the course of this comic. Here, this guy is feeding the jaw in his stomach, which I always thought was funny. Here, Mantra's trying to put on makeup, and it's like, still, this shouldn't be that hard. Not with this face. Let's see. God, I look like someone punched out Emmett Kelly one more try. So she's trying to put on makeup for like probably the first time. Here are some ads for Ultraverse comics. So this is The Strangers, yet another super team. And Hardcase, yet another. I mean, Hardcase was I think supposed to be their premier character. Really, I followed Prime more often than not. And here's Prime number 4. I like Prime. It was very interesting. It's basically another take on the whole Captain Marvel Shazam thing of a kid becoming a big superhero, right? So it was cool. And here's a whole, Ultraverse was going on strong. I don't know how much money they were making. It didn't last very long, but like, I liked all this stuff. Exiles is interesting. Maybe I'll get into that one of these videos. Because it has a big surprise. If you know it, you know, right? There's Mantra here. Prime Prototype, which was their Iron Man. Freaks, another sort of like kids on the run with superpowers team. Strangers. All sorts of stuff about what they're doing in a community, etc. Office Talk. I don't get what this is, but Ask Diane, and yet another sort of Punisher-ish ripoff, very 90s. Wrath, here he is with straps and stuff. This is what most 90s characters look like. And here's Firearm, another, like gun-toting, military background guy, very 90s stuff. So here's Mantra in like a gown and stuff going to a party that I guess the character was invited to. There's an auction going on, and one of the auction items is this mask which the bad guys want, and so Mantra's like, well, if they want it, then it's probably important I should get it. She runs into Warstrike without the makeup, and gets his name from the date, because she's like, oh, it seems ages since last night. And she's like, darling, it's like, last night you said you were working, Brandon Tark. So she's like, okay, now I have a name to track, right? So this mask comes out, these bad guys come, they're all like clonish guys, and Mantra grabs the mask, it attaches itself to her, and now Mantra has all these powers that she discovers. She never liked this armor that she could get in and out of really quickly. She thought it was kind of useless, but paired with this mask, now she has power over the elements. So there's fire, there's water, and here like Warstrike is teaming up with her. There's more water here. And here there's a little magic trick where someone tries to stab her, but the knife just goes out another way. So she beats that guy. Wind here. So these guys try to fight Warstrike, but Warstrike thwarts them off. And this guy's like, well, give me back my mask. She's like, no, we saved all these innocent people, and this is going to be my payment. So she flies off with this unfortunate looking shape in the looks like underwear that her cape makes, and flies back to her house. The kids are there. The father was apparently cross that they had mentioned a boyfriend, which was Warstrike from before, that they saw this guy and thought it was a boyfriend of hers, and they never went to the movies or anything. He just took him back home. So she's going to take him to the movies and get ready and everything. And she's like, soon now these kids won't be going to see much of their mom. Anyway, if their father wanted them, let them take them full time. My plate was full. So Mantra just wants to develop her powers and everything. Doesn't care about the kids because, I mean, they're not really his, really. But she's in this body still. So the little girl is like really excited, and they go, these clones go one by one to buy tickets to get in. and the girl needs to go to the bathroom, and Mantra's waiting outside, and these guys come and they attack, and she attacks them with fire. Stuff blows up, people are running everywhere, they're throwing chairs at her. And Mantra, gets defeated a bit here, and then about to get cut by one of these clones. Of course, Mantra is gonna get out of this. But I mean, I found this comic riveting. Back in the day, I would buy a whole bunch of Mantra issues and stuff. It was fun. I mean, like, the whole it's really a fish out of water, like fish out of body. And nowadays it would probably be seen as insensitive. There is talk in here that, like, that this body is weak and frail, because it's a woman and all that stuff. Not chauvinistic stuff, but it's, I mean, obviously it's a character arc, right? And he uses he uses this persona, and also he'll get to know the kids better and be their mother and everything. It was just a very strange comic for its time, because this kind of thing wasn't really being done elsewhere. Very unique. And nowadays, people would probably side-eye it and go like, "Oh, like, isn't this insensitive?" But it's fantasy, and it's talking about gender norms and bending certain expectations about gender, right? Here's I guess this was some sort of Malibu crossover event or something. I have some Ferret issues. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of this stuff is actually in the Ultraverse. It's like Malibu characters. Here's Hero Illustrated, which was the competitor of Wizard magazine. I have a bunch of these as well. I think I have a videotape from that. I don't know if they made only one. Hero Illustrated made a videotape of like, you know, the hottest creators at the time, and there was a preview of the Youngblood cartoon, which was just a kind of a 1 minute pilot thing, like test reel, and they never expanded beyond that. Exiles, oh boy, we'll get into that one day. Skybox, of course, everything had a trading card set, so Skybox made an Ultraverse trading card set, even though at this point, I mean, this is Mantra number 2. Like, the characters have barely gone 2 or 3 issues, and they have a trading card set. And here's Super Nintendo is all the rage at this point, and here's the equivalent of the Max, the Super Advantage. And there you go, Mantra, a strange, interesting, gender-bending comic from the 1990s, which probably wouldn't fly today, but kind of didn't fly back in the day because it didn't last very long. But I do remember I thought it was very interesting. I wanted to see more of what was going to happen with that family, and this guy's like situation. How was it going to change, if ever? I thought it was riveting and cool. So I'll take a look at more comics, and until then, take care.